Spoke to DMChat, me get along with my DM, and we'll to recap our latest session, and I promise this will be an hour and 20-minute video like it was last week.
No, while I have like 11 keynotes here, I didn't even expect that many when I was going over this, but so much happened in such a short amount of time. It was ridiculous, actually. So while the session itself like wasn't as long as normal, I feel like a lot more got done rather quickly this time.
Well, I will have to agree with that. I mean, especially because I was trying to kill Jiggles this week. So,
No, and you guys actually did well together. I mean, did you get the information you wanted from him? No. But he did pass out because he got a 27 on that roll, so.
yeah, yeah.
It was raining outside. What? It was raining.
Yeah, that's my children. We're all inside today because it is raining and we're on a tornado watch at the moment. So,
Yeah, guys, this video is all about D&D, but real life is involved as well. So, yeah. But, so, this session we had a combat heavy session in the beginning. Now, we were facing off against Monarch E, not Monarch E, but Monarch E, and she had some of our names Will, and that, well, our main goal was to get to Tucker, who, if we have a couple of don't know, is the main character of the book Into Galactic Space Goblins. And if you want to check that out, I will put a link in the description. I do recommend it. But yeah, we will fight off Monarchy, who space names, and let's put like this real quick. Jingles, me, and Dexter at the computer trying to get the information we needed. We got it, but Mama is trying to get to Tucker, and we were trying to protect him as always. Now we getting this combat. I fling a few spells. I cast Fireball along with Jingles, and we honestly, at that point, that should have just sent the whole observatory to the ground, but it didn't. But Mama is they switching the door and trapping us in here, and we are one of the nouns, and we interrogated her who was interrogated into unconsciousness. Yummy is the
I know. I was just making sure I was muted for you. But yeah, Jingles rolled a 27 when trying to intimidate this deep gnome he had in his right arm, or right hand. He was holding him like this.
Yeah.
And because he rolled a 27 and they were trying to interrogate him, I made the gnome pee himself from being so scared, and then he passed out.
Yeah.
And then they had to carry his body out, like, over Jingle's shoulder and essentially lug him around. So it's kind of like when your party decides to keep a goblin, except they decided to keep a deep gnome.
Yeah. But I would say Jingles and I unintentionally did good cop, bad cop with this, which as crew captain, it's my job to kind of manage my crew, but I'm also trying to make sure that we don't outright kill the snow before we get the information out of him. Which, again, didn't kill him, just intimidated him into unconsciousness. I wish he didn't roll a 27. I did. So that's what we'll do this is try to drill us out of this room by using his robot assistant robot.
Yep.
And they were successful in getting us out. Battle kids. What can I say about this to make it sound a bit sane?
Atticus, he's chaos, but he's organized chaos.
Yes, he is.
So basically, they end up in this room and, interrogating that one deep gnome. But this is just after Badicus, Tucker, and Cobblewobble get out of that room because, once again, Badicus kicks down a door because it's locked by Cobblewobble's cousin who betrayed him.
Yep.
And then, where is it? So he gets Cobblewobble and him out of the room, and Jet, Cobblewobble's cousin, ends up trying to fight Tucker into submission, basically, to get him to go with the Monarch And it doesn't go as planned. He actually makes him quite angry because he insults his mother and his father. And he ends up involuntarily shifting, but because it's a psychological battle, Tucker is trying to fight off a lot of the effects Tilly would have on him. So he doesn't get to essentially double in size like he would have, but he's still very much a predator. And so Jingles had made a grave mistake giving that ring to Tucker. And instead of giving it to his brother like I had suggested, of course he gave it to Tucker. Oh, Jingles. And Tucker was able to increase his armor, his AC by like another 5 points. So he was essentially like a 22, 23. That was his AC. So Jet tried to punch him in the head with these taser-like gloves that he was wearing, and the knuckles on them shattered. And Tucker, who is now psychologically battling Tilly, while Tilly is handling this fight, I think he just went upstairs. But he takes his orca-like teeth, orca humanoid-like teeth, and he laughs at him. Okay. And he bites this guy's metal glove-covered hand, or Jet's hand, and he does a backflip and throws him over himself and into the room where these guys are, and Jet hits the security cameras and is electrocuted and rendered useless. So from there, Tucker then freezes over the opening of what's left of that door with his waif, his weapon, that he had retrieved from his backpack and had Cobble Wobble throw him the cube. He's got like these little Rubik's cubes his mom left him. And in the one that he has in his bag that he keeps on him at all times, it kind of looks like a bag of holding when you push the right buttons. So after, Jet is fought off, he goes over to this door, he bangs this waif on the ground, and an icy blast emanates from the bottom of it and shoots up the doorway in the wall and creates like a little ice wall so that the rest of the party members can't get out. The only one that's out at this time is Baticus, and he's with Tucker and Cobble Wobble. And Tucker's gone crazy at this point. So then, while they were still in the room and they were locked in there trying to interrogate this guy, Dexter had taken his little flamethrower while this interrogation was going on, and he tries to slowly melt their way out of the room past this ice wall. And that was after, so then after that whole little thing happens with the interrogation and that gnome passes out and they gotta lug him, Jingles has to throw him over his shoulder and get out of that room. They get out, and the 3 guys are gone because Tucker bolted. Because now he's on a rampage, or what they think is going to be a rampage. But they don't understand because they're not in his head. They don't understand completely what's going on. But Tucker ends up being chased down the hall by Baticus after Cobble Wobble stays behind to notify the group chat of Tucker's whereabouts, or, well, they didn't really know where he is. He just kind of bolted, and now you have a psychotic orc on a humanoid essentially rampaging the school. He doesn't know where he's going to go, so he notifies everybody. So, honey, chrysanthemum, over here. And then, after he notifies them and Baticus chases him out the hallway, he gets up to the rooftop with him because Tucker, once again, slams the door behind him shut to the rooftop at the bottom of the stairwell, so Baticus cannot find him, or, well, get inside past that door. What does he do? Baticus kicks this door in again. So he kicks in this door, makes his way up the stairs to the rooftop where Tucker is talking to the monarch on top of the observatory, and on top of the observatory is a big glass dome. And that's because there's a telescope in there. So they get up, or he gets up there and he sees him talking to the monarch, and the monarch is trying to convince him that he should be, grateful for this offer. He should take it. He should be the next monarch because that's what she wants for him. That's what she's been trying to train him for his entire life, essentially. And Batticus then tries to stop monarchy from leaving after she causes him some psychological turmoil by once again trying to offer him that, position. And he doesn't want to accept it, but Tilly does. So he starts fighting him super hard, and it becomes so problematic for him that he starts oozing this black-like substance from every orifice in his face. And he's talking or screaming at him. It looks like he's screaming at himself to stop, but he's really yelling at Tilly. So she, of course, sees this and, decides to just get to the point. She's like, yeah, 5 days to make up your mind here because something's going to happen regardless, essentially. And that's when Batticus decides that before she tries to leave, he's going to try to fight her. And he does grab a hold of her, but it doesn't last for long. And she gets away. And when she disappears into a different dimension entirely. So she can see him, but he cannot see her, which is obviously problematic because he can't get to her at all. Nobody can. And then from there, I believe you guys made it to the rooftop, or did I?
We went to the rooftop. We had to basically carry Tucker down to the library and talk to this librarian who ultimately ends up transforming myself, Dexter, and Paul into Tucker's subconscious. And, we get to see the whole dream sequence of what he's going through, and I believe it was visual perception and somewhat nervous monarch is identity, and I would say, and this is how the text that come up in Kenya, but I will say it here. The clone somehow knows Tucker's mother from years and years ago. So just wanted to add that in because we eventually learned that monarchy is Tucker's mother.
I would like to add, too, that the reason that they went into this dream sequence is because after going to the library and getting him somewhere safe that was not that rooftop until they could, figure out what was going on, it was because Dexter realized that Tucker was dreaming again, but he was unconscious, which was very strange considering everything he's just been through. And it's kind of like when you're in that when you're on the verge of death and people say that they see like Jesus. It's kind of like that, except he was essentially transported to what we call the lake of, or the Oceana of memories. And Neptunians have a firm belief that with water, it carries memories. So that's what they would call it. So he ends up there. And usually when this happens, he'll see something from the past that happened, or he'll see someone we call the Weaver, which we'll get into later. But this time, everybody gets transported inside his head because it's clear that Tucker's body is reacting to all of the trauma, and his brain is reacting in this way. So, just 1 second.
That is Blizzard. He goes through time of stuff, and yeah, but he's definitely overwhelmed with the whole Monarch Eve situation, and it takes a mental toll on him.
So, yeah, sorry. But they end up seeing all of that inside his head because they realize, his body is reacting to this trauma in a very interesting way, and they kind of need to know what's happening to him. And in doing so, that's where they end up finding out that Monarch E, Tucker's mother, had been carried away from the scene of the accident 7 years ago, or well, it would be 8 years at that point. 8 years ago, by the former monarch, because her curse was being sent to Earth. And after she had been through that accident with Tucker, they figured that was just what they needed to make it so that they could remove her from that situation and push her to the brink of insanity by isolating her and forcing her to essentially watch her son grow up without her and watch all of the hardships that he had to go through without his mother. And it drives her insane, and she ends up initially obviously not wanting anything to do with being the monarch because of what it entails. But because of her insanity, she kind of decides that, you know what, I do want to be monarch because my son deserves better than this, and I know exactly how to get it for him. And if I become monarch, he will not only become unstoppable, he'll have a planet of his own, and at that point, he could wipe out his brother, who is the next future ruler of Neptune, because Tucker doesn't necessarily want that position. He's never been there, and he would find that to be very rude to just kind of step into a planet he's never been to and say, hey, I'm the new king. That's not how he would want to do that. And he doesn't really plan to be on king. He just wants a normal life, which unfortunately his life is anything but that. So she decides to take the matter into her own hands, and not only would he be king, but it would be an act of revenge for her. Because his father, Triton's father, well, technically also Tucker's father, wiped out a majority of her species back home on Neptune. So also taking out his son would be sending the message that they are unstoppable, and that her race could be eradicated by none other than even herself or Tucker. So she is so consumed with madness and power at this point that that's what she wants for her son. And even if Tucker doesn't want it, she wants to give it to him by driving him to the point of insanity like herself, because in her head, that's just what she should do. She's his mother. Regardless of whether or not she's a monarch, she's his mother. She knows what's best.
Yep.
We also, so at that point, after they see this, or actually, I'm pretty sure Batticus had already made his way out the door to go get Jack and Jake from the infirmary.
Yes.
And what is... So as that's happening, Batticus was told to go down to the infirmary to get Jack, Tucker's godfather, yes, September. And, so, my goodness, wait till I'm done. But, so Jake and Jack are down in the infirmary, and he goes to go get them. As this happens, or when he goes to go get them, Batticus goes, he doesn't give any other context other than basically, hey, get in the freaking car, and just rolls up. And he just, and he goes, no, not Jake, you, because Jack is the doctor. Now, obviously, as Tucker's father, Jake is like, I have to come too, but Batticus is like, I only have room for one other person.
Yeah.
So he takes back Jack, and Jake is forced to take the stairs, and he is an asthmatic.
Yeah.
He's running for his life to get to his son, and after they get back, and he brings Jack to where Tucker is, Batticus realizes, oh wait, I could have just sent his mech suit, I think it was,
Yeah.
to go back and go get Jake. And Jake walks in the door and he's having an asthma attack and he's got his inhaler and his son is on this table in the library just bleeding out essentially.
Yeah.
And poor Jake's over here. It could have been avoided, but he is now also potentially going to unalive because he just ran super fast to get to his son. And then Dexter helped because, okay, so Dexter's basically a tech genius. And he helped, get them set up with some basic medical equipment really quick. And Jack starts draining some of the black ooze that's seeped into Tucker's lungs. And it's so obviously he can breathe and stuff. But then he kind of has robots set him up like this makeshift gurney or whatever, and they get to try to wheel him to the cafeteria. And DJ, what happens on the way to the cafeteria?
Okay, well, here's the thing. So we have the door. I never said Jake have a hard time walking. I said, hey, we only I will help you. So I'm walking with Jake. Lift it on me to get to the cafeteria and
Atticus hears a growl.
yeah, Atticus hears a growl, goes into the cafeteria, which is occupied this time because it's freaking lunch time right now, and he's kicking in the store, freaking out serious. Trains drop. He heads over to this Benjamin thing. Execute yanks it out of the wall. Carries it, but then happens to notice, oh wait, there's someone and something behind it, and they come out and roll in a combat situation that we will deal with next time.
So basically, the three people that come out of this wall, one is the sea nymph who is pretending to be one of Triton's teachers in ancient Mayan history that got away through the vent the last time. Then there's Jet, and then there's Gravelin. But Mr. Angler on a 12-foot leash has this wolf-like raven dog thing creature from Venus with him, and it's foaming at the mouth and it's ready to like lunge at Atticus. Meanwhile, the other two make haste out into the hallway and stop them from getting to the elevator, which is the cliffhanger I left them on for next session. And Tucker has 10 minutes to get to that infirmary before they don't have, much room left in the actual like bag on the device that they were using to, manually pump this out of the ooze out of Tucker's lungs. So he's got about 10 minutes before he croaks. And now they have to fight off these guys to get down to the infirmary.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be fun.
Well, considering now that we're all separated once again because Vaticus decided to go, he goes, I hear a growling, but I didn't roll very well, so I'm just going to go inside anyway in my mech suit, and kicks in this door. Mind you, this Batman Transformer in this room with all of these students after you kick the doors in for a vending machine of energy drinks, they're losing their fucking minds. They don't know what's happening. They've never seen Vaticus in his mech suit. And he already sends everyone into a panic before the real panic was supposed to begin.
Yeah. No.
Poor Homeos, one of Tucker's friends, is under this tree just trying to eat his lunch.
Yeah.
In the biodome in the cafeteria, he's like, God damn it, I just want a normal lunch. Just one. And, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, I'm gonna ask this. Is there any way we could put him on a leash? Please? Because,
I mean, you can try, but you might have to talk to Dexter about that. Yeah, actually, you should.
yeah.
Because, one thing we didn't mention, Monarch E has been sending messages to the players' group chat.
Yeah.
And in one of these messages is, the first one is something they had to decode.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read the message, actually. Just give me a second. How many times did you try to decode this message, DJ?
Like, at least 10 times.
Chat GPT couldn't even get it. I was like, dang, I fooled Chat GPT?
Yeah.
Like,
No, like, I kept giving him my answers, like, oh, you got the false part minus the name, but no, you still like, okay, so me, Vaticus, and Jingles end up working together for somewhat to decode this message.
but mind you, Vaticus is a welder in real life, but he couldn't figure out how to use his printer, so.
Yeah, no.
And the one he sent me didn't even make sense. I don't know if he sent that to you, but I remember reading his answer and being like, what the frick was that? Because it didn't, I don't understand. But this was the message Monarch E left for everyone. Hello, Earth Legion. I'm sure by now my son has gotten medical attention and you know who I am. I assure you, nobody knows that isn't you, and if Jack knows, well, it's because you told him. He has had no idea this entire time that I was the monarch, so go ahead, tell him. Tell my son. Tell my husband who refuses to remarry or date because of the heartache. Tell them this. She left you so you could have better. She left you so she could have better. She wanted to make you better. Having Tucker was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that was just before I became the monarch. I was alone for a long time, as you know. We will call it vacation. Do you remember that story? The one about the orca at SeaWorld, who had her baby ripped from her? She cried for weeks in the corner of her tank, calling out in echo pulses no one had ever heard before. Well, my vacation was about like that. Listen, don't make this any harder than it has to be. My son will be the next monarch because I deem it necessary for the safety and protection of your planet. That stone you have can heal him, you know. But in doing so, he may also lose his brother. His brother is the only one who can use it. He has blood that helped make it. Triton is the next king. Legend has it only a royal can use it. I just figured you should know that. Not like you would have anyway. If the librarian was really as smart as she thinks she is, she would know this. Goes to show, age means nothing in the arts of wisdom, and her cookies are shit. And the message in the actual, within the message.
Yeah, I have that pulled up if you.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so this message is simple, it's straightforward, it's cryptic, but I want Triton dead. He will die. He owes me that much. That is the message that she sent us with. Like, my thought is like, lady, I get you hate this kid, but you really want it dead?
Not to mention, it's Tucker's twin brother.
Yeah, like.
So that would be incredibly traumatizing to him. And that would add to his rage, which she's betting on. She wants Triton dead, not just for that, but because she feels he deserves that much because of everything his father has ever done to her species. So it would be not just a slap in the face to his father, but his entire planet and where they come from. Because she truly believes in her heart that two wrongs do make a right in this situation. You took everything from me back home. I'm going to take the one thing that was your everything, which is your child, your bloodline.
Yeah, so.
And then there was one more. Hello, it's me again, your monarch, your overlord, your general, the future ruler of Earth, the one that's really running the government puppets behind the scenes. This next little puzzle is for those who are playing the game but don't understand just how deep the game really goes. Some people are not always who they say they are. Others are transparent. Others are wearing masks and pretend to be something they're really not. Here's the puzzle. Are your friends who they say they are? That's all.
Yeah.
And she sent that individually to each player instead of sending it to the DM's chat or the player's chat.
Yeah, look. I mean, that. She's trying to drum up doubt into our team and our entire crew. Now,
Oh my god, speak of the devil. Baticus just messaged me the most ridiculous thing, DJ.
Okay, let's hear it.
He has requested a pet. He has used ChatGPT to make this pet.
Okay.
It is a bat bear. This wing, let me tell you. First of all, the one thing I see wrong with this, that bear weighs way more than those wings can handle. What is the point of the wings? One. Two, why? Why? I gave you your options. We came up with some creatures this morning for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about. We had a lot of fun. I actually may go live after this on TikTok again so we can do it because I had a lot of fun with you guys. Actually, it was really.
I had fun too. I will definitely be at that. But
Yeah.
Being real here because this was not planned.
Another thing I did today, just for a little, because I like to, give some certain characters who don't get as much time within the story time to like speak to you guys, or get involved and give you guys little prizes for everything you've done. I like doing that. And this one wasn't a puzzle. It was just currently there's an overpopulation of certain species at the schools in certain biodomes because the school actually needed a better quality of air for different species of aliens that would be attending school and whatnot. So they created biodomes within the school to handle that.
Yeah.
And this year, it works as like its own ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So there are animals, plants. There's a fountain usually located in each of them. And in this particular biome, it's the cafeteria biodome. Now, we came up with a few creatures today, and I picked two of the most tame ones compared to the other ones we worked with today. And I said, we have a little bit of an overpopulation problem. And Fenrir goes, you guys can either pick A or B. And what is Baticus doing? Not picking either. He is apparently making his own and trying to suggest it. But a bat bear is not happening. That's not happening. That's crazy.
Yeah, no. Baptist is given over to Z. Like, oh, let me try to slide this into what we can do. Yeah, no! Like, guys, Baptist, aka Batman, as we know him out of the game, is how do I say that kindly?
My thing is I might not mind if this thing wasn't a full-grown sized bear. If it was maybe like a baby bear, maybe.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you know what? He just tried to negotiate again.
Okay, guys.
It says it would be the size of a lab. Wait, like a dog?
Like a laboratory retrieval. Guys,
I'm not even gonna lie, that sounds cool as fuck. But like, God damn it.
I mean, you still gotta think about the wings. I mean,
Dude, wings don't even reach like the wingspan on this thing is literally like smaller than the bear. That's not gonna work. It would fly, but like it would barely even. It'd be like a penguin or like a chicken trying to fly, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is. But that's how Batman is. He's out there. So, yeah, guys, I will say this before we go into a more ridiculousness. We will see you next week for another recap, and we will update you on the situation.
And if you're interested in watching live, be sure to check us out on my account intergalactic.earthscum1 on TikTok on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. EST.
Yep. Guys, thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye.